Once upon a time, in a vast and vibrant forest where the trees touched the sky and rivers sparkled like diamonds, there lived a diverse group of animals, each with its own unique personality and role in the ecosystem. The forest was a harmonious place where every creature, big or small, played its part in maintaining the balance of nature. At the heart of the forest stood an ancient oak tree known as Grand Oak. It was said that Grand Oak was as old as the forest itself, and it held the wisdom of all the animals that had ever lived there. The animals often gathered beneath its wide, sheltering branches to discuss matters of great importance, share stories, and seek advice. The leader of this forest community was Leo, a majestic lion with a golden mane that glowed like the sun. Leo was not only strong but also wise and just, always ensuring that the forest remained a place of peace and prosperity. His best friend was Ellie, a gentle and intelligent elephant who never forgot anything. Ellie was the keeper of the forest's history, remembering every significant event that had ever occurred. One day, a troubling rumor spread through the forest like wildfire. Whispers of a great drought reached the ears of every creature. The rivers, which once flowed abundantly, were beginning to dry up, and the leaves on the trees started to wilt. The animals grew worried as they realized that their home, which had always provided everything they needed, was in danger. Leo called for a meeting under Grand Oak, where all the animals could discuss what to do. Creatures of all kinds gathered: swift deer, wise owls, clever foxes, and even the tiny insects that lived in the soil. Ellie was there, too, her massive form providing comfort to those who were anxious. "We must find the source of this problem," Leo declared, his voice echoing through the forest. "If the rivers dry up, we will all suffer. But I believe that if we work together, we can find a solution." The animals murmured in agreement, and after much discussion, a plan was formed. A group of the forest's bravest animals would set out on a journey to find the cause of the drought and bring back the water that was so desperately needed. Leo led the expedition, accompanied by Ellie, Swift, a graceful cheetah known for her incredible speed, and Bright, a curious and intelligent parrot with feathers as colorful as a rainbow. They were also joined by a shy but clever beaver named Birch, whose knowledge of rivers and dams would be invaluable. The journey was long and arduous. The group traveled through dense jungles, climbed steep mountains, and crossed vast plains. Along the way, they encountered many challenges: a fierce storm that nearly swept them away, a barren desert that tested their endurance, and a dark, eerie cave where they had to rely on Bright's keen eyesight to guide them through. But despite the difficulties, the animals never lost hope. They supported one another, using their unique strengths to overcome every obstacle. Leo's leadership kept them focused, Ellie's wisdom provided guidance, Swift's speed allowed them to outrun danger, Birch's knowledge helped them navigate the rivers, and Bright's sharp eyes and quick thinking saved them more than once. Finally, after many days of travel, they reached the source of the great river that fed the forest, the Crystal Lake, a magnificent body of water nestled high in the mountains. But to their dismay, they found that the lake was nearly dry. The once clear waters had turned murky, and the fish that lived there were struggling to survive. As they investigated the area, Birch noticed something unusual. A massive dam had been built across the river that fed into Crystal Lake, blocking the flow of water. The dam was unlike any Birch had ever seen, constructed not by beavers, but by something far more powerful and destructive. "This dam is not natural," Birch said, examining the structure closely. "It's made of rocks and logs, but it's been reinforced with something much stronger. Whoever built this wanted to stop the water completely." "But why?" Swift asked, bewildered. "Who would want to dry up the river and harm the forest?" Bright, who had been circling above, suddenly swooped down with a look of alarm. "There's something coming," he squawked. "Something big." The ground began to tremble, and the animals turned to see a massive creature emerging from the shadows of the mountain, a giant bear with fur as black as night and eyes that glowed like embers. This was Grom, the largest and most feared bear in the mountains. He had once lived peacefully in the forest but had left many years ago after a terrible fight with Leo over territory. Grom had become bitter and angry during his time in the mountains, blaming Leo and the other animals for his exile. In his rage, he had built the dam to take revenge, knowing it would dry up the rivers and force the animals to leave the forest. "This forest was once mine," Grom roared, his voice shaking the earth. "And if I can't have it, then no one will." Leo stepped forward, his heart heavy with sorrow but also filled with determination. "Grom, I know you are angry, but this is not the way. The forest belongs to all of us, and we can share it. There's no need for this destruction." But Grom was beyond reason. He lunged at Leo, and the two powerful animals clashed, their roars echoing through the mountains. The other animals watched in horror, unable to intervene. As the battle raged on, Ellie noticed that the dam was beginning to crack under the pressure of the blocked water. She realized that if the dam broke suddenly, it could cause a flood that would devastate the entire forest. "We have to act quickly," Ellie shouted. "Birch, Swift, Bright, we need to dismantle the dam carefully, or the water will destroy everything." With Ellie's guidance, Birch used his strong teeth to gnaw through the logs, while Swift and Bright worked to move the rocks out of the way. It was a race against time, with Leo and Grom still locked in combat, the ground shaking beneath them. Just as Grom seemed to be gaining the upper hand, the dam finally gave way, but thanks to Ellie and the others' careful work, the water flowed out in a controlled stream, gently filling the riverbed instead of crashing down in a destructive wave. The sudden release of water distracted Grom, and he stumbled, allowing Leo to pin him down. But instead of delivering a final blow, Leo spoke softly. "Grom, it doesn't have to be this way. You can come back to the forest. There's enough space and food for all of us. We can live in peace if we work together." Grom, exhausted and defeated, looked into Leo's eyes and saw not anger, but compassion. For the first time in years, his rage began to subside. He realized that he had been wrong, that his anger had only brought misery to himself and others. I was wrong," Grom admitted, his voice trembling. "I let my anger control me. But I don't know if I can change." "You can," Ellie said, stepping forward. "We all make mistakes, but it's never too late to make things right." The other animals nodded in agreement, and even Birch, who had been so frightened of Grom, offered a small smile. With the dam dismantled and the water flowing freely once more, the group began the journey back to the forest, now accompanied by Grom. As they traveled, Grom slowly started to feel a sense of belonging that he hadn't felt in years. He realized that the forest had always been his home and that he had missed it deeply. When they returned, the forest was already beginning to recover. The rivers flowed strong and clear, the trees stood tall and proud, and the animals who had stayed behind welcomed the travelers with cheers and celebrations. Leo announced that Grom would be welcomed back into the community, and as a gesture of goodwill, Grom offered to use his great strength to help rebuild anything that had been damaged during the drought. The animals were hesitant at first, but soon they saw that Grom was sincere, and they accepted him as one of their own. In time, the forest flourished more than ever before. The animals lived in harmony, understanding that their strength lay in their unity and diversity. Leo continued to lead with wisdom, Ellie kept the history of their adventures, Swift raced through the trees, Bright sang beautiful songs, Birch ensured the rivers flowed smoothly, and Grom found a new purpose in protecting the forest he had once tried to destroy. And so, the forest thrived, a testament to the power of forgiveness, cooperation, and the enduring bond between all creatures, great and small. Under the sheltering branches of Grand Oak, the animals lived out their days in peace, knowing that as long as they stood together, they could overcome any challenge that came their way. Once upon a time, in the vast and golden sands of the Sahara Desert, there lived a wise old camel named Sahir. Sahir was no ordinary camel. He had roamed the dunes for many years and had seen more than any other creature in the desert. His thick, coarse fur had turned almost silver with age, and his eyes sparkled with the knowledge of countless journeys. Sahir was known far and wide among the desert animals for his wisdom and kindness. Whenever a traveler found themselves lost in the endless sea of sand, it was Sahir who would guide them to safety, using his uncanny sense of direction that never failed. The animals of the desert often sought his counsel, whether it was to find the nearest oasis or to learn about the ancient stories of their ancestors. One hot afternoon, as Sahir was resting under the shade of a lone acacia tree, a young camel named Amira approached him. Amira was still new to the desert life, having been born just a few years earlier. Her coat was a rich golden brown, and her eyes were full of curiosity and determination. "Sahir," she began, hesitantly, "I have heard so much about you and your great wisdom. I want to learn how to navigate the desert like you. Will you teach me?" Sahir looked at the young camel and saw in her a reflection of his younger self. He nodded gently and said, "Of course, Amira. But the desert is a harsh teacher. You must be patient, and you must listen to what it tells you." Amira eagerly agreed, and so their journey began. Day after day, Sahir led Amira across the shifting dunes, teaching her to read the stars, to find water hidden deep beneath the sand, and to understand the subtle changes in the wind. He showed her how to conserve her energy during the scorching days and how to keep warm during the cold nights. As they traveled, Sahir also shared with Amira the stories of the desert tales of ancient caravans that once crossed the Sahara, carrying treasures from distant lands, of fierce sandstorms that could swallow entire cities, and of the mysterious desert spirits that protected the oases. Amira listened intently, her admiration for Sahir growing with each passing day. But she was also determined to prove herself. One evening, as they rested under a starlit sky, Amira turned to Sahir and said, "I think I am ready to navigate the desert on my own. I want to find the hidden oasis that you spoke of in your stories." Sahir smiled, knowing that this moment would come. "Very well, Amira," he replied. "But remember, the desert is both friend and foe. Trust in what you have learned, but also trust in yourself." With that, Amira set out on her journey. The desert, as always, was unforgiving. The sun beat down relentlessly, and the dunes seemed to stretch on forever. But Amira pressed on, using the skills Sahir had taught her. She followed the stars at night, and during the day, she searched for signs of water. Days turned into weeks, and just when she began to doubt herself, Amira spotted a green patch on the horizon. With renewed energy, she made her way towards it, and soon, she found herself standing before the hidden oasis. The water was crystal clear, surrounded by lush palm trees and vibrant flowers, a true paradise in the middle of the desert. Amira had done it. She had proven herself not just to Sahir, but to the desert itself. As she drank from the cool waters, she felt a deep sense of accomplishment and peace. When she returned to Sahir, he greeted her with a proud smile. "You have done well, Amira," he said. "You have learned the most important lesson of all, that the desert is not just a place to survive, but a place to thrive. It will always be your home, and you will always find your way, no matter how far you roam." From that day on, Amira became known as the new guide of the desert. She, like Sahir, helped those who were lost and shared the stories of the Sahara with all who would listen. And whenever she needed advice, she knew where to find the wise old camel who had taught her everything she knew. And so, the legacy of Sahir lived on, carried forward by the next generation, as the desert continued to whisper its secrets to those who knew how to listen.
Once upon a time, in a lush valley surrounded by towering mountains, there was a herd of wild horses. These horses were known far and wide for their strength, beauty, and grace. Leading the herd was a magnificent stallion named Thunder. His coat was a deep chestnut, and his mane flowed like silk in the wind. One summer, a terrible drought struck the valley. The streams dried up, and the grass turned brown. The herd struggled to find food and water, and their strength began to wane. Thunder knew he had to find a solution, or the herd would not survive. One night, under the light of a full moon, Thunder decided to venture beyond the mountains in search of a new home. He told his trusted mare, Luna, to lead the herd while he was gone. With a heavy heart, Thunder set off on his journey, determined to save his family. For days, Thunder traveled through harsh terrain, climbing steep cliffs and crossing barren plains. Just when he was about to lose hope, he stumbled upon a hidden valley, lush and green, with a sparkling river running through it. The valley was untouched by the drought, a true paradise. Thunder raced back to his herd, eager to lead them to their new home. When he returned, he found the herd weak, but still holding on. Luna had kept their spirits high, reminding them of Thunder's promise to return. With renewed hope, the herd followed Thunder through the treacherous journey to the hidden valley. When they finally arrived, the horses could hardly believe their eyes. The valley was everything Thunder had promised and more. There was plenty of food and water, and the herd quickly regained their strength. Thunder had saved them. From that day on, the herd thrived in their new home, and Thunder's legend grew. He was remembered not just for his strength and beauty, but for his courage and leadership. And as the years passed, the story of Thunder and the hidden valley was told to each new generation, a reminder of the power of hope and determination.
Once upon a time in the picturesque village of Greenfield, nestled between rolling hills and vibrant meadows, lived a community of kind-hearted people who thrived on their rich, agricultural heritage. Among the many animals that populated the village, the goats of Greenfield held a special place in the hearts of its inhabitants. These goats were not just ordinary animals, they were known for their unique personalities, intelligence, and the whimsical stories that surrounded their existence. One such goat was Bella, a charming and clever creature with a glossy coat as white as the first snowfall. Bella was no ordinary goat, she was a storyteller, a weaver of tales that enchanted both the young and the old. Bella lived on the farm of old Mr. Thompson, a kind and gentle farmer who had a special bond with his goats. Every evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the sky turned a shade of pink and orange, Mr. Thompson would sit by the fire and listen to Bella's stories. She would bleat softly, and to everyone's amazement, her bleats sounded almost like words, weaving tales of adventure, mystery, and magic. One evening, as the village gathered for the annual harvest festival, Bella began to tell a story that would forever change the lives of those in Greenfield. She told of a hidden valley beyond the mountains, a place untouched by time, where the grass was always green and the streams ran crystal clear. In this valley, Bella said, there was a legendary herd of goats known as the Guardians of Harmony. These goats possessed wisdom and knowledge far beyond any human understanding and were said to hold the secrets of peace and prosperity. Intrigued by Bella's tale, a young and adventurous boy named Jack decided to seek out this hidden valley. Jack was known for his curiosity and bravery, and the thought of discovering a place of such wonder filled him with excitement. Early the next morning, with a satchel of provisions and a heart full of hope, Jack set off on his journey. Jack's journey was arduous, filled with steep climbs, dense forests, and treacherous paths. But the thought of the hidden valley and the Guardians of Harmony kept him going. Along the way, he encountered various challenges, including a mischievous band of mountain squirrels who tried to steal his provisions and a wise old owl who offered cryptic advice. After many days of travel, Jack finally reached the summit of the highest mountain. From there, he looked down and saw the hidden valley Bella had described. It was even more beautiful than he had imagined, with lush meadows, sparkling streams, and a serene atmosphere that seemed to hum with harmony. As Jack descended into the valley, he was greeted by the guardians of harmony. They were majestic goats with shimmering coats and wise, knowing eyes. The leader of the herd, an ancient goat named Luna, approached Jack and welcomed him. "We have been expecting you," Luna said in a gentle voice. "You seek the secrets of peace and prosperity, and we shall share them with you." Over the next few days, the guardians of harmony taught Jack about the importance of balance and harmony in all things. They showed him how to live in tune with nature, to respect all living beings, and to cultivate inner peace. Jack listened intently, absorbing their wisdom and realizing that true prosperity came from harmony within oneself and with the world around them. When it was time to leave, the guardians gifted Jack with a small, intricately carved wooden amulet. "This amulet holds the essence of harmony," Luna explained. "Wear it close to your heart, and it will guide you and your village to a future of peace and prosperity." Jack returned to Greenfield with a newfound sense of purpose. He shared the wisdom he had learned with the villagers, and together they began to cultivate harmony in their lives. They worked together to care for the land, treated each other with kindness and respect, and found joy in the simple pleasures of life. As for Bella, she continued to weave her enchanting tales, inspiring all who listened. The story of the Hidden Valley and the Guardians of Harmony became a cherished legend in Greenfield, a reminder that true prosperity comes not from wealth or power, but from living in harmony with oneself and the world. And so, the village of Greenfield thrived, its people living happily and harmoniously, all thanks to the wisdom of a clever goat named Bella and a brave young boy named Jack. Once upon a time in a small, peaceful village nestled in the rolling hills, there lived a humble donkey named Bruno. Bruno was not like the other animals in the village. He was old, with a shaggy coat of brown fur and a pair of long, floppy ears that drooped a little more each year. Despite his age and appearance, Bruno was known throughout the village for his gentle nature and his tireless work ethic. Every morning, just as the sun began to rise, Bruno would set out with his owner, a kind-hearted farmer named Matteo. Together, they would plow the fields, carry heavy loads of vegetables to the market, and help the other villagers with their chores. Bruno never complained, not even when the work was hard or when the sun was scorching hot. He simply plodded along, his hooves clopping steadily on the dusty paths, always ready to lend a helping hoof. The villagers adored Bruno. The children would often run up to him, offering him apples or carrots, and he would nibble them gently from their hands. The older folks would pat his back and whisper kind words of gratitude, for they knew that Bruno had been serving the village faithfully for many years. One day, news spread through the village of a grand festival in the nearby town. There would be music, dancing, and a great feast. But what excited everyone most was the race that would be held on the final day of the festival. Animals from all the neighboring villages were invited to compete, and the winner would receive a shiny golden bell, said to bring good fortune to its owner. The villagers immediately thought of entering Bruno into the race. Though he was old and not as fast as he once was, they believed his determination and steady pace might give him a chance. However, Matteo was hesitant. He knew Bruno was strong, but he didn't want to push him too hard. Yet, seeing the excitement in the eyes of the villagers and feeling Bruno's gentle nudge as if he understood, Matteo agreed. The day of the race arrived, and the village gathered to cheer for Bruno. He stood at the starting line beside sleek horses, swift goats, and even a clever fox. The other animals looked at Bruno with a mixture of amusement and pity, but Bruno stood tall, his ears perked up with quiet confidence. The race began with a blast of a horn, and the animals dashed forward. The horses galloped ahead, the fox darted through shortcuts, and the goats bounded over obstacles. Bruno, however, started at his usual steady pace. He wasn't too fast, but he was relentless, never slowing down, never losing focus. As the race went on, the faster animals began to tire. The horses, who had sprinted ahead, were now panting heavily. The fox, though clever, had misjudged a turn and got lost. One by one, the other animals began to fall behind or drop out entirely. World of green, a tail of plants. He kept going, his hooves clopping steadily on the path, in a world that existed long before humans. The villagers, there was a vast and mysterious forest, began to cheer louder, the Emerald Kingdom, their hopes rising with every step Bruno far beyond the horizon. When Bruno finally crossed every shape, size, and the crowd erupted in applause. The forest was alive with an energy that pulsed through every leaf, but he had finished the race strong, ahead of many others who were faster. Were not just static beings rooted to the perseverance and determination with their own stories. The judges awarded him a special prize, a silver bell, the great oak and the little fern, beautiful as the golden one. At the heart of the Emerald Kingdom stood the great bell around Bruno, the oldest and wisest of all the trees, with a clear, joyful sound spread deep into the earth. From that day on, with the secrets of the ancient through the village, the bell would chime, revered by all the plants everyone in the forest of the importance of steady. It was said that the oak could speak with the wind, fleeting bursts of energy, stars, and even listen to the heartbeat Bruno, of the earth itself. With his silver bell, beneath the great oak, became not just a hard-working animal but a symbol of the village's spirit, a reminder that it's not always the swiftest or the strongest who succeed, always dreaming of the world who never give up. Forest floor. In the rolling hills of Green Valley, was content to listen to the whispers and soul of the land. The little fern wanted to explore, generations, to see the Woolridge family had attended to their flock, and to feel the touch of the wind on its secrets of shepherding from the one before. One day, the little fern gathered the courage to speak to the great oak. Mary Woolridge, great oak, had a special connection with the sheep. I want to see the world beyond this wandering the fields. I want to know what lies beyond the shadows. Talking to the animals as if they understood every word, rumbled through the forest. In many ways, the world is vast. The flock trusted Mary. Beyond this forest she guided them to fresh pastures and kept them safe from harm. And even the mountain of moss. Among the flock, there was one sheep that stood out without its dangers. Her name was Bella. You must be strong and wise to venture out. Nature and an adventurous the little spirit. Fern trembled, but unlike its desire to see the world Bella was stronger than its fear. Drawn to the edges of the fields where the wild flowers grew thick and the forest began. My heart tells me spot for Bella, the great oak, finding her in the most unexpected places, like a thousand whispers, always bringing her back to the safety of the flock. Little fern, one sunny morning, but remember this, as Mary prepared you are not to lead just the sheep to a new grazing area, guardian of life. She noticed Bella was missing. Wherever you go, this was not unusual. Protect it, but Mary felt a strange sense of unease. The journey begins. She set off in search of Bella's blessing, calling her name and scanning the horizon. It was not easy, and Mary ventured further than she ever had dense undergrowth, into the dense tiny roots trembling with their step. As she walked deeper into the woods, it grew stronger. She found traces of Bella tufts of wool caught on the branches, a proud rose who warned of the thorns ahead. A cheerful sunflower who shared stories of the sky, and a wise old moss grew thicker and the light dimmer. To stay rooted in any terrain. Just as she began to worry she might be lost, after many days of travel, familiar bleat, the little fern reached the edge of the forest. Mary pushed through a thick lane and stumbled upon a hidden meadow, a vast expanse of color that stretched as far as the eye could see. Standing on a rock, the fern was in awe, surrounded by a small group of sheep Mary had never seen before. These sheep were wild, had its own story, their wool unkempt, its own dance with their eyes wary. But the meadow was not just a place of beauty. Seemed at ease among them. It was also as a place she had found a second flock. The flowers competed Mary for sunlight, slowly, for water, speaking softly for the attention of Bella and the wild sheep. The little fern watched as a
see that
delicate
Bella
daisy
had been
struggled
leading
to
these
survive
sheep,
in the shadow
showing
of a tall
them the way to the
sunflower.
meadow's lush grass
The fern
and fresh
remembered
water.
the great oak's words and
It
knew
was
what
clear
it had
that
to do.
Bella had a natural
It
leadership
wrapped its
that
fronds
extended
around
beyond
the
the
daisy,
Woolridge flock,
gently guiding it towards a spot
respecting
where
Bella's
the sunlight
newfound
touched
role.
the ground. Mary decided to
The
visit
daisy,
the meadow regularly.
now free from the sunflower's
she
shadow,
brought food and water,
bloomed brightly,
gaining the trust of the wild
fern
sheep while
realized that its
maintaining
true
her
strength
bond with
lay
Bella.
not in competing,
Over
but
time,
in helping others
the wild
grow.
sheep began to accept
The river
Mary,
of reeds,
recognizing her as a
after
friend.
leaving the meadow of flowers,
Back in Green
the
Valley,
little fern reached
life
the river
continued
of
as
reeds.
usual, but
The
now
river
with a
was
new
wide
tradition.
and fast,
Its
every
waters
week,
swirling
Mary
with energy.
and Bella would journey to the hidden
reeds
meadow
that grew along
where
its
they would
banks
spend
were tall
time
and
with their
strong,
extended flock,
their roots deep in the riverbed.
The Woolridge family marveled
But
at
the
this
river
unique
of reeds
connection.
was also a place
Proud
of
of Mary
danger.
and her remarkable sheep.
The current was powerful.
Years passed,
and many plants
and
had
Green
been
Valley
swept away by
flourished.
its force. The wild sheep,
The fern hesitated,
now part of the larger flock,
how could it cross
brought
such a
new
river
vitality
as the
to
fern
the
pondered,
land, and
a
through
gentle
it all,
voice spoke
Mary
from the
and
water.
Bella remained inseparable.
Do not fear,
their bond a
little
testament
fern.
to the power of trust
I
and
am the willow,
understanding. Guardian of the river.
In the end,
the story
will
of
help
Mary
you
and Bella
cross.
became legend in
The
Green
willow
Valley,
bent its long,
a tale of
graceful
adventure,
branches,
unity, and forming a bridge over the water. The fern climbed onto the bridge, its fronds quivering with excitement and fear. As it crossed, the willow spoke of the river's secrets, the ancient stones that lay beneath, the fish that danced in its depths, and the cycles of life that the river sustained. When the fern reached the other side, it thanked the willow. "You have shown me the strength of the river and the wisdom of the water," the fern said. "I will carry this knowledge with me." The Mountain of Moss. The last leg of the fern's journey led to the Mountain of Moss, a towering peak covered in a soft, green carpet. The mountain was ancient, older even than the great oak. The moss that covered it was wise and patient, having witnessed the rise and fall of countless generations of plants. The climb was steep and difficult. The little fern struggled, its fronds trembling with each step. But the moss encouraged it, whispering words of wisdom and strength. "Remember, little fern," the moss said, "you are never alone. The earth is beneath you, the sky above you, and life all around you. Draw strength from them." Finally, after a long and arduous climb, the fern reached the summit. From there, it could see the entire world, the Emerald Kingdom, the meadow of flowers, the river of reeds, and beyond. The fern realized how far it had come, how much it had grown. At that moment, the wind began to blow, carrying with it the voices of the forest, the meadow, the river, and the mountain. They sang a song of life, of growth, of connection. The little fern joined the song, its fronds swaying in harmony with the world. Return to the Emerald Kingdom. With a heart full of wisdom and strength, the little fern returned to the Emerald Kingdom. The great oak greeted it with pride. "You have done well, little fern," the oak said. "You have seen the world, learned its secrets, and returned with the knowledge of life. You are no longer just a small plant. You are a guardian of the earth, a protector of life." The little fern, now no longer little, settled back beneath the great oak. It had grown tall and strong, its fronds lush and vibrant. It had seen the world and returned with a deeper understanding of its place within it. And so, the Emerald Kingdom continued to thrive, a place where every plant, big or small, played a part in the great tapestry of life. The little fern, now a wise and respected member of the forest, knew that its journey was not the end, but the beginning of many more adventures to come. And thus, in the secret world of green, life continued to flourish, one story at a time.